What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. You guys, welcome back to another edition of Gotta Love Them Movies, your daily dose of movie news. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I'm here all the time. And you guys, this is a television review of the television show Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit, all episodes are airing right now on Netflix. In fact, there's only 7 episodes. It's a limited series. There will, to my knowledge, there will not be a second season. This was just a one-off. Just 7 episodes in the series, and yeah, so this is a popular show on Netflix right now. So it follows the story of Beth Harmon, as portrayed by Anya Taylor-Joy. You've seen Anya Taylor-Joy. If you're like, oh, I've seen her somewhere, I can't quite pinpoint where what that is. She was in the New Mutants. She was in the New Mutants movie. She played Magic in that. She was in Split by M. Night Shyamalan, and then the follow-up film Glass. She had a smaller role in Glass, but she was one of the 2 main characters of Split. She's a really good actor. She knows what she's doing. She's off doing her thing. But Queen's Gambit follows the story of this young introverted orphan, and she's special in the way that, like, her brain works and processes information in a very specific way, and it's because of just the way that her brain works, she becomes kind of a chess prodigy, right? So it just kind of like follows her adventures on like becoming like this champion of chess. I haven't been able to find anything on if this is a true story or not. If you happen to know, please jump down to the comment section below and let me know. I just haven't been able to find anything if this is or is not based on a true story, but it's an interesting story. I will give you that. It's not the kind of story that we get that much of, and it's not an action show. Like, this is pure straight drama. I thought it was pretty well done. On the whole, yeah, I liked it. It was all right. I don't ever need to watch it again. I've checked it off my list. And yeah, let's just kind of break it down, shall we? So the acting, everyone's acting was pretty good. Everybody was so droll, and growing up in the orphanage, Anya Taylor-Joy's best friend, hold on. I should be able to find it here. Her best friend, Jolene. She was one of my favorite characters. She has minimal screen time, but she was one of my favorite characters in the whole show because she has personality. She just lives in her own skin, and she enjoys who she is, and she just does what she wants. And she's charismatic, and she's likable. I don't think there's a lot of likable characters throughout this entire show. Jolene most definitely is one. But yeah, pretty much everybody else is just kind of okay. I mean, sure, and that includes Beth Harmon, Anya Taylor-Joy's character. Everyone's fairly stoic in this movie, especially Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, that's her character. That's kind of how she's supposed to portray herself. It's okay. I mean, like I said, everybody does a really good job. It's just everyone is overly stoic, overly dramatic. But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just an aesthetic choice. I'm giving acting a 16 out of 20. Let's move on to directing. The directing, or I guess you could even say like the show running of this series, limited series, it has a very specific tone. It's very dry. It's a little droll. The visuals are really cool. They're the show kind of explores drug abuse and substance abuse a little bit, and when she goes into her, for lack of a better term, trances, the way that the visuals, the way the visual storytelling kind of processes this and lets you know what is happening in her mind in a visual sense is that she imagines the chess pieces on the ceiling, and she's playing a game of chess, multiple games of chess on the ceiling in her mind, right? So she's always looking up at the ceiling. Of course, nobody else can see anything, like nothing's there. But in her mind, she's playing chess on the ceiling. I love that visual. I thought that was a really cool visual. Maybe a little bit of a metaphor in there. But yeah, again, like the showrunner of the show kept things very drawn out. It's a little boring. Breaking news, television show about chess. Boring? I know, right? I know. But I feel like this show, the entire story that they told could have been condensed into maybe 4 or 5 episodes. There's 7 episodes, but I feel like they could have combined everything into maybe 5 episodes. Let's cut 2 episodes out and just shorten it up a little bit. I think that would have made the storytelling stronger. There's also this idea that we need to be beholden to a time limit on each episode. And while that used to be true, in some cases still is true in network television, and on, certain cable shows like, or Netflix, streaming services like Netflix or HBO Max or, Hulu or whoever, you don't need to be beholden to a certain time limit. So if the story gets told in 30 minutes, well then, hey, the story gets told in 30 minutes. If the story gets told in 45 minutes, well then, hey, the story gets told in 45 minutes. But there seems to be this idea that, if it's either a half-hour episode or it's an hour-long episode. And, yes, there's exceptions. We've seen plenty of exceptions to that. I don't know. I just don't see that this needed to be the length that it was per episode and also as a whole. It just seemed a little drawn out. But then again, it's okay. I guess it's fine. It is not the most riveting thing. There are really riveting parts to it. It was just, it was okay. It was fine. Aesthetically, it looked okay. There's nothing about this that like reaches out and grabs you. If you just want like a decent drama, a well-told drama, okay, then yeah, check out Queen's Gambit. 16 out of 20. So the writing of the show, again, big problem. It was just drawn out. A lot of that is directing. A lot of that is the script, right? And again, I feel like a lot of these characters were not developed to make them likable. Her adopted parents, spoiler, she gets adopted. What? Her adopted parents are droll and uninteresting. Things happening in other people's lives are uninteresting. Here's the thing, they don't actually tell you how to play chess. They reference, it's a show about chess. Of course they reference chess. But when they say king to rook's knight, or I don't know, like king 3 to b4, I don't know, whatever, like however that terminology works, that's just terminology that washes over us, the viewer. But had they actually spent the time to lay the foundation and teach us how to play chess, it's called Queen's Gambit. I still don't know, like I understand that the Queen's Gambit is a it's a move strategy within chess, like rooking or pulling a castle. I know what a castle is, but not because of the show. I know what a castle is because I've played chess before. But like there's all this terminology and they never explain to the viewer like what it means. How does any of this work? They just basically say that like if you want to really understand chess, you have to be at a world grandmaster level. Otherwise, you're not going to understand chess. So we're just going to, I don't like that manner of storytelling. I feel that you're not, it's not that they're talking down to the audience. It's that they're not even giving the audience a chance to understand what is going on. It's this assumption that's just saying, oh, well, you're not going to get it, so we're not going to bother explaining it to you. So just kind of go along the ride with us. It's not about the chess. It's about the person. And while I agree with that, it's not about the game. It's about the growth of the individual playing the game. It's about her journey. That's what's interesting from a narrative, from a storytelling perspective. Yes. But if we don't understand the mechanics of what this means and the gravitas of like when she wins was it Kentucky? Was it Kentucky? I think it was Kentucky. When she wins like the state championship as a chess player. Again, spoiler alert, she wins a tournament. Ooh, right? The gravitas of that moment is lost on the audience because I have no frame of reference. Nobody has given me any sort of analogy. Like, okay, is this the Super Bowl? Is this the playoffs? Like, where's my frame of reference? I have no pop culture reference to compare this to. So, okay, great. She won the state championship. She's the state champion. I guess that means that she's the best in the state and she's really good at what she does. And, you know, based on the premise of the show, it looks like she's going to become better and win even more championships. So it doesn't leave a lot to the imagination. It's more of like you are a passenger in this journey, right? It's not that you get to make discoveries as the characters are making discoveries. It's you are just a passive viewer. And so from that standpoint, the storytelling, again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's not engaging. It's not the kind of show that I sit down and watch and I'm like, oh, I have to watch the next episode. Now, people will disagree with me on that. The internet is full of people who just love this show right now. It's pretty well acted. It hits one note over and over and over and over again. And the story is drawn out, and I don't understand what's going on. As a viewer, I would very much like to understand what was going on. For all those reasons, 16 out of 20, that's a pretty good score, right? Especially based on everything of what I just said. Like, I would have liked more from the story. But having said that, there's nothing wrong with the way the story was told. It's just I had no entry point. From the very beginning, I had no reason to care about any of these characters or what was going on. Story itself was okay, but I had no entry point. So the overall takeaway, my takeaway from this was that, again, like, hey, if you have a few hours to kill, if you have extinguished all of your other binging shows, if you have nothing else left to watch, okay, yeah, go ahead and put on Queen's Gambit. It was not my cup of tea. It was fine. It was okay. It has, like I said, just kind of a droll, dreary, hits one note. There's some things that are interesting, some things you perk up, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. In my opinion, one likable character, Jolene. Everybody else is just kind of, Again, it's not a bad show. It's a well-crafted show. It's a well-made show. But it's just kind of, So I'm going to give it a 13 out of 20. So the effectiveness. I actually think that the effectiveness to this was higher than what I initially would have thought for myself. I think that this is the kind of show that is resonating with audiences. I think people like this more than not. And I think Netflix has something to be very proud of on their hands. I don't think it's the best show, but it's by no means is it a bad show. Is it a waste of time? I don't think it's a waste of time. It's just a more passive way to spend your time. So for effectiveness, I'm going to go with a 15 out of 20. All right, guys. So all of those scores tallied up, and we get...
You want to eat me? Then go ahead! Do it! Go ahead and eat me!
Yeah, Yeah, that's right. A 76 out of 100. I gave The Queen's Gambit a 76 out of 100. I think that's fair. Like, again, it's not a bad show. It's okay. It's fine. And it definitely has its audience. There are people that like this. Here's the thing. I didn't not like it, but I also didn't love it. You know, I'm kind of in that weird middle ground. It was okay. It was fine. I don't ever need to watch it again. I paid my due diligence, and yeah, you know, there we go. So anyway, guys, the question is for you. Have you had a chance to see Queen's Gambit? What did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. And if you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Weird Al Yankovic would want you to do. Dun, 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 dun.